The second module of our course, How to Increase Your Focus for Learning. We all know what concentration means, giving your close, undivided attention to something. But it is one thing to know what it means and another to be able to concentrate on your learning. Inside this module, we are going to cover many topics. First one, why many students cannot concentrate and what to do about it. Have you ever wondered what do highly focused and productive people do differently than others? And how are they able to establish an extremely high level focus? Inside this lesson, you will find out how to dramatically improve your focus and concentration with some powerful strategies. The second topic covered 9 top exercises to improve your concentration. By practicing mental exercises, you train the mind and master it, and put it in its proper place as your servant and not as your boss or master. The next topic, some tips for maintaining focus, because we all struggle to maintain our focus in our daily lives. Endless distractions keep our brains from focusing on a single task. Either we speak about learning or about work and complex projects. Next topic, how to improve your motivation for learning. If you are an achiever, if you are results-oriented, you know that your motivation is essential in this way. Anything you might want to achieve in your professional or personal life demands a high level of motivation and focus. Next topic, 5 ways to improve your reading comprehension and retention. Retention of what you are learning can help your career, your parenting skills, your business, your relationships, your hobbies, and so much more. So it makes sense to acquire reading comprehension and retention sooner than later. The skills presented in that specific lesson are useful for all the great information you want to take in. And the final topic covered, why memory training is all about imagination. In today's information-driven society, effective learning is the key to a successful career and a happy life. As the demands on our learning capabilities continue to grow, there becomes an ever more pressing need for advanced memorization methods, speed reading skills, and analytical thinking to multiply your learning and creative potential. With this overview in mind, let's start our first lesson. We all know what concentration means, giving your close, undivided attention to something. But it's one thing to know what it means and another to be able to concentrate on your studies. Many students complain that they just cannot concentrate. In other words, their minds race from one thing to another and their thoughts are all over the place, except on their studies. If you feel like this, you are not alone. But what needs to be done to overcome this? Studies show that people are most able to truly focus for an average of only 6 hours each week. Thus, you may want to be highly productive within those few hours. Firstly, you should know that everyone has the ability to concentrate. Think of a time when you were totally engrossed in something you really enjoyed. For example, a movie, a book, a game of rugby or football. You can concentrate. The trick is to use the right strategies to unlock your natural ability to concentrate and apply this to your studies, and even beat that average of only 6 hours human beings can concentrate per week. Have you ever wondered what do highly focused and productive people do differently than others? And how are they able to establish an extremely high level of focus? If your answer is yes, I'm going to present you 4 major strategies to dramatically improve your focus. First strategy, know yourself, why you concentrate and why you don't concentrate. When you begin to understand more clearly why you react or feel the way you do about certain things in your life, you will gain closeness with yourself. Think of the way you concentrate as your data. Begin by collecting the data so that you may make a commitment to understanding who you really are. There might be a situation when you don't understand why you do what you do, why you concentrate or why you don't concentrate. But just keep in mind, there are always consistent links in your chain of life. Take note of them. As an exercise, after this lesson, take a piece of paper, split it in two parts, one for why you concentrate and the other one for why you don't concentrate. Then write down in both lists all your reasons. If you want to, you can share some of your insights with us in the discussion section. Second, find a good time to study. It helps if you pay attention to when you study the best or when you are the most productive. For some people, this might be when you first wake up and you don't have anything distracting you yet. Throughout the day, you are more likely to become distracted, so it's better to study when your mind is still fresh. Furthermore, studying when you first wake up is really productive too, because you are less tired and generally already more focused. Third strategy, prioritize. Decide what topics require more attention than the others and dedicate appropriate amount of time to them. Prioritize all the tasks that demand a lot of your concentration and creativity, so you can accomplish them long before your energy gets sapped. Proceed with lighter tasks later in the day. As an exercise, keep a diary or an agenda with you, a master list of all of your high-level priorities. Write all your study goals and priorities in it and take a thorough look at them. Sometimes I even post this list of priorities in my room because for me it's very useful. Keep a daily to-do list with your own priorities. And don't be rigid with it. Be dynamic. When needed, make adjustments. Fourth, break larger tasks into smaller ones. Sometimes we feel like we have too much to do and we procrastinate. Instead, we can avoid this by doing what we are able to do first and slowly build our way up. Furthermore, it helps if you seek help for the tasks you cannot accomplish, so you don't get stuck on one place and becoming frustrated. Fifth, learn actively. This will help you concentrate and remember. Active learners do something with what they have learned. In order to learn actively, follow these steps. Put what you have learned into your own words. Compare what you are learning with what you already know. Link new facts to what you already know. Apply what you are learning to your own situation. And finally, find ways to use that new information in your day-to-day activity, at school or personal life. Next strategy, be active in mental activity. Use a hierarchy of questions to help you focus when reading a reference material or listening to a lecture, rather than passively reading through it or listening and hoping that something will stick. And then write brief notes about the answers to your questions. Ask yourself, how will you use the material? Where it fits into what you already know? What new questions it triggers? Seventh, reflect and adjust. You will want to closely monitor yourself on a daily and weekly basis and make adjustments. You should regularly ask yourself the following questions. While these are related to your studies and how to better acquire new skills, you could just as well use them in any work or life situation. What is my main goal? What is my goal for the week? What do I need to do today? Where am I at this moment? Is this technique, schedule, place, relationship, situation working? Is it worth improving? How can I improve it? And I suggest to ask this question and answer them related to your agenda or diary I asked you to keep for your to-do list. Alright, here is the action step for you. Watch this lesson at least twice and contemplate on what has been said. Second, write your opinion about this lesson and how it would be helpful to you to become a more focused person. Thank you very much. Practice exercises to improve your focus on a daily basis. Concentration is basically concerned with disciplining your mind to improve your focus. However, your mind will tend to resist your efforts as it loves its own freedom. By practicing 10 to 15 minutes of exercises to improve focus on a daily basis, you will be able to train and discipline your mind and hence improve your concentration. By practicing mental exercises, you train your mind and master it, and put it in its proper place as your servant and not as your boss and master. First exercise. Practice simple mental calculations for 10 minutes a day over a period of 20 consecutive days. This will make you concentrate considerably better. For your first session, you might begin with something very simple, the addition table in your mind, starting with 1 plus 1 equals 2, and continuing through each number up to 1 plus 9 equals 10. Then continue with 2 plus 1 equals 3, and so on, until 9 plus 9 equals 18. Keep your attention closely focused on the mental task and notice the command over the neurological process of concentration. Next exercise. Observe. Get any physical object, a fruit, a small furniture, a toy, and examine it closely and carefully. Take note of its characteristics and features while keeping your mind from staying away and starting to entertain our thoughts. Keep your complete attention on one thing you currently have in your hands. Take note of its color, shape, texture, even the smell. Next exercise. Focus on a single word. Find a nice quiet spot where you can stay for at least 5 minutes without anyone interrupting you. This exercise requires you to laser point your thoughts on a single target, a single word of your choice. It doesn't matter what word you choose as long as it is inspiring. Love, courage, happiness, or success are good examples. Repeat the word mentally in your mind for 5 minutes. When you feel your concentration is improving, you can increase the duration to 10 minutes. Next exercise. Observe without thinking. This exercise is similar to the previous one, but this time you will observe any chosen object, fruit, furniture, etc. without any mental verbalization. That is, make the act of observing completely blank as much as possible. Basically, for 5 minutes or so, you should look at your chosen object from all sides and angles without thinking anything about it. Next exercise. Observe and conjure. This is the logical next step to the previous two exercises. This time, after observing your chosen object for a few minutes, close your eyes and mentally picture the object as you have seen it. Visualize it by examining the object mentally. Turn it around in your mind and take notes of its features and physical characteristics while shutting out any irrelevant thought. Next exercise. Focusing on sounds. In your day-to-day lives, we keep hearing several sounds. Try to focus on a specific sound, such as a voice. Then deliberately switch over to another sound, such as that of a bird. Again, switch over to another sound, say the sound of traffic. Continue to switch between sounds after focusing on one sound for 1 minute. This exercise can also be done visually by focusing on the person or thing that is creating the sound and focusing then on another. Ensure that while focusing on one particular sound, you do not think of or hear anything else. The final exercise. Hold a single thought for an absolute minimum of 5 minutes, then increase to 10 in the next days, and so on until you arrive to 1 hour continuous focus. Don't cheat yourself. If an irrelevant thought comes into your mind, your concentration has been broken. Once you take the step to increase your concentration, you become more engaged in the activities and you have the energy you need to deal with all these challenges. You can increase your thinking process several times, and that is because your attention is going to become very sharp and you will easily be able to connect to the tasks at hand. Now, I've presented you 8 exercises which will improve your focus if done regularly each day for 10 to 15 minutes. Some of these exercises are hard, some of them are easy, but I can assure that they work. My advice for you is to rewatch this lesson at least twice because it's important. And as a second step, choose 2 to 3 exercises and do them for 30 days, 10 to 15 minutes per day. Please share with us which of these 8 exercises you chose to do. Thank you very much. In the previous lesson, we've discussed about ways on how to increase your concentration. In this lesson, we're going to discuss about some tips for maintaining or keeping your concentration. We all struggle to maintain focus in our daily lives, to maintain concentration once you increased it. Endless distractions keep our brain from focusing on one task. Either we speak about learning or about work and complex projects. Our day-to-day reality is that most of the people lack the ability to focus. The average person has the ability to concentrate with only 25% efficiency. This is why improving focusing skills is one of our favorite topics and a target for our students. Now, a question. How can you train to induce that focused state in yourself? The ability to focus the mind is one of the most important abilities one should possess, and this is why you are here taking this course. Developing focus is not an easy task, as it depends upon a number of factors, starting with our own mindset and including the external environment. In order to be able to maintain focus, here are 7 focusing strategies. First strategy, mind mapping. It is a very powerful way to get more out of your head, to organize information and to maintain focus. This is a method that has evolved into one of the most effective learning and thinking tools. You can use mind mapping for communicating, presenting, meetings, planning, memorizing, learning, organizing, and negotiating. Transferring your thoughts onto paper is incredibly easy and simple to practice. You don't need more than 15 minutes to learn and understand mind mapping. Using mind maps allows you to see the bigger picture in detail and maintain your focus. How do you do it? Start off with your main image in the middle of your paper. From this main image, make branches out of it that will be for a different area of your topic. You then make sub-branches out of them. Only use one word per branch. If you keep using mind maps, you are going to gain in planning power, creativity, develop more of your brain, and increase your powers of memory and observation. Next tip, interest your mind. Try to find interest in learning and in projects to help you concentrate. Taking up a new hobby can be a tremendous help. You should also try to find something interesting even in a task that you would normally didn't like. If you are at a gathering, find someone and start a conversation. Be inquisitive and you might discover you have similar interests. Exercise. Focus on finding 5 central important ideas to think about. Use mind maps to record the search, then write test questions to summarize your learning after each study session. Next tip. Find your purpose. Having a purpose to finish your work will keep you motivated and keep you focused. Part of the reason we lose focus is because we can't see the point of whatever task we have to get done and would rather be doing something else. Once you find your purpose, write it down or repeat it to yourself to keep your energies in the right place. Your purpose can be the key that unlocks the door to your focus. Here are 2 exercises. First, if you are studying, remind yourself about what is important. It may not be important for you to ace one test, but it is important for you to succeed, to achieve your career goals, whatever they may be. Next, exercise for keeping focus on work. If you are doing work, remind yourself why your work is important and why the work you do really matters. If it really doesn't matter to you, but is a good means to an end, remind yourself of all the things you can buy because of the work, or about all the fun things you can do once your workday is over. Fourth tip: point your internal distractions and stop them before they start. We all get distracted by different things throughout the day. Those thoughts might be about what you are eating for dinner, when to go shopping, why the girl you like didn't went out with you, etc. You can, however, limit those brain wanderings when you need to focus on a task by simply putting the brakes on the thought process. You can set up your environment to diminish distractions. Decide on a routine or ritual that feels to you like a good way to begin your focused work. As an exercise, identify what distracts you and then take proactive measures to not let them distract you again. For example, if it's the internet, television, or people, then you might want to consider studying at the library. Next tip: increase the relevance of the task you need to complete. The idea here is simple. Our attention system is a top-down priority list, and distractions are bottom-up. This is the key feature in any to-do list. The most important thing is at the top. The least important is at the bottom. In an article published in the Journal of Neuroscience, researchers suggest that you can override your attention system to maintain focus, provided you have a good working memory, which is something you can train yourself. As an exercise, choose one of your tasks for which you would like to increase the relevance. Assign a due date if it isn't assigned yet. Tap into the reward center of your brain and offer up a reward for completing a task. For instance, when I finish writing this lesson, I get a cookie. Prioritize with a to-do list, organize everything, and focus only on the topmost goal. The goal is to add weight to the project you want to focus on, so that it's easier to do so. Sixth, manage your time. Managing your time goes hand in hand with making a to-do list. Next to each item on the list, write about how long it will take you to accomplish each task. Be realistic about this estimate. Then try to complete each task with the confines of each time limit. As an exercise, after defining your to-do list, break up more time-consuming tasks with shorter, easier tasks. That way you won't be overwhelmed by too many tough tasks in a row. You can think of the shorter tasks as a mini reward. And the last tip: actively engage your brain and maintain your focus by taking and using notes. It doesn't matter how you capture the notes. Even if you never refer back to them again, taking notes is extremely helpful. The act of taking notes helps your brain make what's known as a spatial relationship between you and the information you hear, and then maintaining this relationship. As an exercise, first, add to your notes. Supplement the notes you took in class with extra material from the text and handouts. Always have plenty of extra space in your notes for this. Second, define terms heard in class. When you hear unfamiliar words, write them in your notes as best as you can. Then look them up later on, getting the correct spelling and definition in your notes. And the last exercise: summarize your notes at the end of each topic or chapter. When you understand what causes your brain to focus on something, it's easier to train your brain to focus better and ignore distractions. The no one-size-fits-all method works because everyone deals with or even notices distractions differently. But once you are focused, the last thing you want to do is let that feeling get away. Maintaining focus can help you accomplish almost anything, from studying for a test to finishing your work an hour early. Staying focused can help improve your professional life, help you listen to people better, and also help you come up with a solution to problems at a quicker speed. Here is the action step for you. Please access our discussion section and let us know if these tips have helped you maintain your focus. Better than that, if you were to choose 3 tips, what would you choose? Please share it with us. Thank you very much. Alright, once you have learned how to increase and maintain your focus, during this lesson, you are going to learn how to improve your motivation for learning. Motivation is a key component of your concentration. If you're an achiever, if you are results-oriented, you know that your motivation is essential in this way. Anything you might want to achieve in your professional or personal life demands a high level of motivation and focus. In order to develop a skill or to achieve the goals you set up for yourself as swiftly as possible, with the least amount of effort, and also to experience joy in this process, you need motivation and the right focus that comes with the motivation. The concentration level directly depends on how much you are interested and motivated for the respective topic, how you perceive it. Develop how you can increase your motivation in the topic so you can better concentrate and improve your learning skills. But can motivation be built? Studies that draw from psychology and neuroscience suggest that there are at least a few things that you can do to boost your motivation, whether that's putting yourself in a certain frame of mind or finding a quick way to boost your mind and body. If you find yourself struggling with motivation, here are 10 ways to boost it. First way, force yourself to start, and the motivation will come afterwards. Many people tend to wait for the right moment when they feel inspired and or motivated to start their work. But the reality is they may never feel inspired to do the work that needs to be done. The most successful people don't wait around until they are in the right mood. They just get started, and what they notice is after a while they realize, wow, what I have done so far is pretty good. And this results in them feeling motivated and wanting to take more action. As an exercise for you, start doing something small, such as writing one sentence, thinking to your goals, designing the big steps of a project, getting the book out of your bag, etc. It won't take long before you are on a roll and deeply immersed in your project. Second way, do the toughest task first. This will ease a lot of your day-to-day worries and boost your self-confidence for the rest of the day. Third way, use reward as self-motivator. Focus on what you have learned and see what you can draw from that. Give yourself more encouraging words. Use as well small incentives in between tasks to motivate you. Fourth, share your progress. A small sense of accomplishment pushes you for more. Maybe your mom or your dad or your sister. They may become the source of interesting conversations that may motivate you. Fifth, tell yourself why studying is important. This is different for each person. Maybe you really care about the subject material. Maybe your parents promised you a reward and you want to win it. Whatever it is, remind yourself of why you are working hard and tell yourself it's worth it. Often we lack motivation when we can't see the point in what we are doing. Before you engage in your work, ask yourself, why am I doing this? Where am I heading? And where do I want to be in 3 years' time? Answering these questions can help you gain clarity, focus your energy, and propel you into action. Now, for you, take your time and answer to these 3 questions. Why am I doing this? Where am I heading? And where do I want to be in 3 years' time? If you want to, you can share your insights with us in the discussions section. Sixth, make a personal connection. Rewrite your lecture notes or concepts in your own words, and in this way, you are taking a giant leap toward contextually understanding the study material. Think of your rewrites as a summarization technique and as an excellent way to check for understanding. Each time when you completely understand a topic, you become more motivated. Seventh, change the study strategy after a few hours and allow yourself to take a short break. This will refresh your routine and decrease the chances of becoming bored. For example, if you haven't done it before, read a chapter out loud to yourself or ask yourself a question on the paragraph you are reading. Change the usual study location and plan a revision session in an open air. Have a deserved study break to do some exercises or just to relax and change the place. Eighth, imagine the end result. If you are really struggling with a project, you can start imagining the end result and how you will feel once you accomplish it. Athletes use this strategy frequently to help them stay focused on their goals and to keep motivated. My advice for you is to put a picture of the end result up on your wall. This will be a great way to keep motivated when dealing with obstacles and setbacks. Ninth, ask yourself meaningful questions. For example, what am I happy about in my life right now? Or what am I excited about in my life right now? It's important that you really feel how it makes you feel. When I think about the last part about what makes me happy right now, I really feel it. These questions, especially in the morning, are great because the way they are set up makes you recognize things you take for granted, and they really get you to feel those positive feelings. And the last way to boost your motivation for learning: compare yourself with yourself and remember your successes. Focus on you, on your results, and how you can improve them. Reviewing your results is important so you see where you have gone wrong in the past to avoid similar missteps further on. But it's also important because it's a great motivator to see how much you have improved and how far you have come. Often, you can be pleasantly surprised when you do such a review. Remember your successes and let them flow through your mind instead of your failures. Write down your successes. Consider using a journal of some kind since it's easy to forget your successes. Alright, that was with this lesson. In the end, I have two questions for you, and please answer them in our discussions section. First, what tricks and tips have you discovered to increase your motivation or give yourself a big boost in energy? Have you discovered if any of those offered previously work particularly well for you? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. In the end, we hope you are going to use these tips to improve your study and work efficiency. If you have any interesting suggestions, let us know in the discussions section. Thank you very much. How to improve your reading comprehension and retention using concentration. No matter your age, throughout your life you will be learning. You may attend an university, you may enhance your knowledge via business workshops, lectures, books, e-courses, and whatever else shows up in our information society. So wouldn't it be helpful to have a good reading comprehension and retention to increase your ability to learn? Retention of what you are learning can help your career, your parenting skills, your business, your relationships, your hobbies, and so much more. So it makes sense to acquire reading comprehension and retention sooner than later. These skills are useful for all the great information you want to take in. Do you find your mind wandering while you are reading and then not remembering what you have read? I, by example, do. And this is why we came up with this 5 techniques to raise your comprehension and retention. We have selected the techniques that are expected to be relatively easy to use and hence could be adopted by many students. The first strategy. In order to improve your level of comprehension when reading a book, imagine that the author has wrote it to tell you a story, inform you on a topic, tell you their opinion in a certain manner, etc. Exercise. If you are reading on a topic that's new to you, make your comments what you concluded from the paragraphs. Your comments don't have to be on each paragraph you read. Just try to feel that you have to respond to what's being said. Since this is taking the form of a written conversation, try to get a pencil when reading, and when the writer so-called pauses in paragraphs or page breaks, write a few words of commentary on what you just read. Could be yes, no's, or more detailed comments, your feelings, what you predict, what you want to know more about, what you are curious about. Second strategy, paragraph shrinking. After you read a paragraph or a reasonably sized coherent section, summarize the main point audibly. If you can't, then reread. As an exercise, choose a book that you like or the book you are currently reading and do this. Summarize the main point audibly. Let us know in the discussion section how easy it was for you to do this. Third, prediction. More relevant to non-expository reading. When you finish a page, try to predict what will happen next. Keep the same book and continue reading. Pause and continue your exercises predicting what will happen next. Fourth, recall practice. After you finish reading, practice recalling the content by outlining what you just read. Include important details. Once you have exhausted your memory, go back and fill in the outline with things you have omitted. These strategies typically take time. In essence, you are helping your brain associate reading behavior with memory. Recall practice has the most scientific evidence. If you practice recalling regularly and monitor the quantity and quality of recall, you will notice improvements. Also, book clubs or reading partners naturally help because recall practice typically occurs. As an exercise, think to the last book you read and make a summary, underlining the most important ideas, book characters, what did you like and what did you learn. And the last tip to improve your comprehension and retention using concentration. Look for identifying the main point, evidence, and conclusion. The main point is not the summary. It's simply what the author is trying to convince you is true. This will most closely resemble an opinion rather than background info or undeniable facts. It can be at the beginning, middle, or end. Depending upon the type of topic, the main point will take different forms. If the passage is about a problem, the main point is the solution. If it's a mystery, cause and effect, the main point should be the explanation the author advocates. If it's a person the author likes or dislikes, the main point is that the person is great or not great. Evidence will be reasons for opinion. If it's about a study or an experiment, the main point is that the study or experiment is good or bad. As an exercise, think of one of your projects which relates to a topic you are interested in. Identify the main point that made it successful or that prevented the success. Conclude then what you did learn from the respective project. Alright, that was with this lesson. Improve your reading comprehension and retention using concentration. Again, we are here to help you. Thank you very much. Visualize to create a memory palace. In purely psychological terms, memory is a place. It is a place where information of any kind is stored, processed, and retrieved whenever required. Psychologists refer to this place as the human memory palace. This memory palace is actually a hypothetical place used to give you an idea of how memory functions. The palace rooms are the divisions of your memory according to classifications unconsciously made by you. For example, one room meant for one purpose only: office-related memories, office meetings, colleagues, salary details, etc. Another room could be represented by your romantic interest, romantic dinners, partner, love, intimate moments, etc. Memory training is all about imagination. It allows your brain to come up with more ideas and possibilities. The practice of imagination requires you to learn how to create strong visual connections. As a result, you will not only remember better, but you will also become more creative and think outside the box. By training your memory, you actually form the basis of many new skills: communication, time management, learning, planning, etc. Your brain has areas we will call storage spaces for now. Visualizing or sleeping will give your brain some time to put this information into the right storage space within your brain. Scientists have studied just how important visualizing is so that you are able to consolidate information into your long-term memory. The more we allow our brains to visualize, the more our brains will be able to hold onto and remember things. We should start looking at visualization as a form of concentration. By visualizing, you become an adaptive, innovative thinker. As you develop your ability to visualize and you avoid logical pitfalls, you will see how to use creative problem-solving strategies both in business and in your private life. Now, how to create highly imaginative visual stories to connect with what is to be remembered. Remembering made-up stories engage our brain in many more ways than traditional memorization. Words are processed on one side of the brain, images on the other. Creating images from those words is incredibly strong. Think, by example, how a movie visually engages us. We see body language, environments, we feel emotion, we experience being in the moment. We are one with the movie. Reading a text is different. There needs to be an encoding process that transforms the text into images for us to truly understand. We need to create the experience. It is the use of imagination that will give you a better mind and memory to learn faster and better. Here are some exercises and steps of action. Take time out of every day to focus on something other than your work. Take a visualization session to help improve your memory. This will give your mind the time to consolidate and file the memories that you are giving it. Be aware that visualization is a skill. If you are still having trouble doing this, you may want to develop your visualization skills first. The more relaxed you are, the easier it will be and the more effective your memorization will be. How to use a branch of the method of Loci to store information in your memory as efficiently as possible for short and/or long periods of time. The method of Loci is also commonly called the mental walk. In basic terms, it is a method of memory enhancement which uses visualization to organize and recall information. Many memory contest champions claim to use this technique in order to recall faces, digits, and lists of words. This whole memory palace technique is based on the fact that we are extremely good at remembering places we know. How to build a memory palace? First, define a palace. Select a place you want to use as a memory palace. This place should be something that can be clear in your mind. When selecting the place, I suggest to use a place that you already know, like your home, your city, or your office. It is entirely up to you to choose your memory palace and map it out well in your mind. Second, define a route. In the place you decided, define a set of locations, one after the other, creating a route. Each one of those locations will be the anchor points where you will be able to memorize an item. If it is your first time, create a simple route with just a few number of points. In the house version, every room is home to a specific item you want to remember. Really visualize the place you choose. Take the route, walk through the house, and your palace will be established. And the third tip, memorize the route. You have to have clear in your mind the route you must follow when using the palace. For this purpose, memorize the route. Repeat it several times until you know it by heart. Here are some exercises. The first one, think of a list of what you want to remember, a shopping list or your agenda for the week ahead. Second, start visualizing the first place of your palace. Visualize clearly the location. Soon, your memory will show you the whole image you put on that location. It is important to make your images as animated and bizarre as possible. Third, visualize the first item of the list at the first place of the palace. In order to remember easily, you must create vivid visualizations. From the image you get, retrieve the data you memorized at that point. Repeat point 2 with the second location of the palace and the second item of the list. Fourth, keep doing it until all the items of the list have been memorized. And the last part, if you want to remember the items for a long time, repeat the whole process the next day and once again the next week. Second exercise, and this one is on your own. Generate a list of 20 cities you would like to visit. Use the memory palace to memorize them. Next exercise, go to the cinema and watch a movie you like. Use the memory palace to memorize all the names of the people in order of appearance. And last exercise, generate a list of 15 books you would like to read. Use the memory palace to memorize them. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to hear from you how this method works. Give it a try. Take it as an exercise. If you don't want to, don't make it a habit. It's just like fitness. If you want to train your focus and concentration, this method works. Just give it a try. Thank you very much.